A 7-year-old girl saw what her brothers missed, a black sedan following them from school. When the men inside opened their doors, she ran to the scariest stranger she could find, a Hells Angels president adjusting his motorcycle. "That car is following my brothers. Please help." The man looked at the sedan, looked at the little girl, and remembered his own daughter, taken by a predator 15 years ago. By sunset, 300 bikers had blocked every exit on that street. The hunters had just become the hunted. If this satisfies your heart, please like, comment, and follow. Helena always walked behind her brothers. It wasn't a choice. Her legs were shorter, her steps smaller, and Lucas and Miguel never slowed down. They were 9 and 11, practically grown-ups in her 7-year-old eyes, always talking about video games and soccer and things she didn't understand. She didn't mind being behind. It gave her time to watch things. Helena watched everything. She watched the cracks in the sidewalk, counting them as she stepped over each one. She watched the birds on the power lines, trying to guess when they would fly away. She watched the clouds making shapes in the sky. And today, she watched the black car. It had appeared 2 blocks from school, a sedan, dark windows, moving slowly. Too slowly for normal traffic, Helena noticed, because it was the same speed she was walking, like it was matching her pace. When they turned onto Maple Street, the car turned too. When they stopped at the crosswalk, the car stopped. When they crossed, it crept forward, maintaining that same careful distance. "Lucas," Helena said, tugging her brother's sleeve, "that car is following us." Lucas didn't look. "What car?" "The black one. Behind us. It's been there since school." "There's lots of black cars, Helena. You're being paranoid." "I'm not paranoid. Look!" Lucas finally glanced back. The sedan had stopped half a block away, idling. "It's just parked. Relax." It wasn't parked before. It was moving with us. Miguel pulled out one earbud, annoyed. "What's going on?" "Helena thinks we're being followed." "We're not being followed. Come on, we're going to be late." They kept walking. Helena kept watching. The car started moving again. 3 blocks from home, everything changed. Helena saw it first, the driver's door opening, a man stepping out, tall, thin, wearing a baseball cap pulled low. Then the passenger door, another man, bigger, moving with purpose, both of them looking directly at Miguel. "Lucas!" Her scream made both brothers turn. They saw the men, saw the car, saw the danger that Helena had been trying to warn them about for 6 blocks. "Run!" Miguel grabbed Lucas's arm. "Run! Now!" They ran, but Helena's legs were too short. She was already behind, and running made it worse. The gap between her and her brothers grew wider with every step. She looked back. The men were following. Not running, walking fast, like they knew they would catch up eventually, like they had done this before. Helena's lungs burned. Her legs screamed. She couldn't keep up, couldn't. She saw the motorcycle. It was parked on the corner, chrome gleaming in the afternoon sun, a massive Harley with a rider standing beside it, adjusting the side mirror. He was huge. Leather vest, tattoos, a beard that made him look like a Viking. He was the scariest person Helena had ever seen. He was also the closest adult. Helena made a decision. She veered off the sidewalk and ran straight toward him, her small hand grabbing his before he even knew she was there. "Please," she gasped. "That car, those men, they're following my brothers. They're going to take them. Please help us." Duke, Reaper, Castellano had been having a quiet afternoon. Fix the mirror. Clear his head. Avoid thinking about the anniversary coming up next week. 15 years since Emma. 15 years since his world collapsed. Then a tiny hand grabbed his, and a little girl with wild eyes begged him to save her brothers. Duke looked up. 2 men halfway down the block, moving fast. 2 boys ahead of them, running but losing ground. The sedan idling at the curb, engine still running, ready for a quick getaway. He had seen this before, not exactly, but close enough. The hunting pattern, the coordination, the way they moved like a team. These weren't random creeps, these were professionals. "Where are your brothers?" Duke asked, his voice sharper than he intended. "There, the 2 running. Miguel has the blue backpack." Duke spotted them. The older one was pulling the younger one along, but they were slowing down, panicking, making mistakes. The men were closing the gap. Duke made a decision. "Stay behind me, don't move." He stepped into the street. The two men saw him immediately, saw the vest, the patches, the size of him blocking their path. They stopped. "Problem?" Duke called out, his voice carrying across the distance. The men exchanged glances. The bigger one, clearly the muscle, took a step forward. "No problem. Just looking for directions." "Directions to where?" "Bus station." "Bus station's that way." Duke pointed in the opposite direction of the children. 3 miles, hard to miss." "Thanks." Neither man moved. "You can go now," Duke said, "unless there's something else you need." Silence. The men were calculating. Duke could see it in their eyes, weighing the risk, assessing the threat, deciding if one biker was worth the trouble. Then Duke's phone buzzed. He answered without looking away from the men. "Duke, talk to me." "Got a situation. Corner of Maple and 3rd. 2 males, possible child predators. Black sedan, plate number." He squinted at the car. "Nevada plates, Adam Charlie Victor 773. They were pursuing 3 kids. I've got the kids with me. Need backup." "How many?" Duke looked at the men, at the sedan, at the little girl trembling behind him, her brothers finally reaching them, gasping for breath. "All of them," he said. "Send everyone." The call went out at 4:17 p.m. By 4:45, the first wave of bikers arrived, 20 bikes, blocking both ends of the block. The riders dismounted and formed a perimeter, silent and watchful. By 5:15, the second wave, 50 more filling the surrounding streets. The sound was thunder, engines roaring, chrome gleaming, a wall of metal and leather materializing from nowhere. By 5:30, over 200 Hell's Angels had surrounded the area. The 2 men in the sedan hadn't moved, couldn't move. Every exit was blocked, every escape route closed. They sat in their car, windows up, trying to pretend they weren't terrified. Duke stood at the center of it all, Helena still clutching his hand, her brothers pressed close on either side. "What's happening?" Miguel asked. "Who are all these people?" "Friends," Duke said. "They're going to make sure those men never bother anyone again." "Are they? Are they going to hurt them?" Duke looked at the boy, 11 years old enough to understand some things, young enough to still be afraid. "Not unless they have to. But those men were planning to hurt you. You understand that, right?" Miguel nodded slowly. "They were going to kidnap us, weren't they?" "Yes." "Why? We're not rich. Our parents can't pay a ransom." Duke's jaw tightened. He knew why, knew exactly what those men wanted with 3 young children, but he couldn't tell an 11-year-old that. Some bad people do bad things for bad reasons. What matters is they're not going to get the chance. Helena tugged his hand. "Are you going to call the police?" "Already done. They're on their way." "But the police don't always help. Mum says they don't come fast enough." Duke crouched down to her level. This tiny girl who had seen danger when her brothers hadn't, who had trusted a stranger in leather because she had no other choice. "You're right. Sometimes they don't. That's why we're here. We're making sure nothing happens until they arrive, and after they arrive, and for as long as you need us." "Why? You don't know us." "I don't have to know you. You're a kid. Kids don't deserve to be hunted." His voice caught slightly. "Someone should have been there to protect my daughter. No one was. So now I protect everyone else's." Helena's eyes went wide. "You had a daughter?" "A long time ago." "What happened to her?" Duke couldn't answer. Even after 15 years, the words wouldn't come. Helena seemed to understand. She squeezed his hand. "I'm sorry." "Me too, kid, me too." The police arrived at 5:47 p.m. 4 squad cars, lights flashing, pulling up to a scene they couldn't quite comprehend. Over 200 bikers. Hundreds of bikers, 2 terrified men in a sedan, 3 children surrounded by a human wall. Detective Maria Santos stepped out of the lead car, her hand instinctively moving toward her holster. "What the hell is going on here?" Duke approached her, hands visible, posture non-threatening. "Detective, those 2 men in the sedan were following these children from their school. They exited their vehicle with apparent intent to abduct. One of the children alerted me and I called for backup." Santos looked at the wall of bikers. This is your backup. We take child safety seriously. This is vigilantism. This is witnesses. 200 witnesses who saw those men pursuing minors. 200 citizens who are prepared to testify. Duke's voice hardened. You want to charge us with something, go ahead, but I suggest you start with them. Santos studied him. Then she turned to her partner. Run the plates. The response came back in 2 minutes. Sedans registered to a shell company out of Nevada. Both occupants have priors. The driver has 2 counts of attempted kidnapping in California. Charges dropped due to lack of evidence. The passenger did 3 years for aggravated assault. Santos's expression changed. These are the guys the FBI's been looking for, the trafficking ring operating out of the Southwest. They've grabbed at least 7 kids in the last 2 years. Duke felt Helena's grip tighten on his hand. Not today, he said. Not these kids. The arrest happened in slow motion. 200 bikers watched as the men were pulled from the sedan, hands behind their backs, faces pressed against the hood. They didn't resist, couldn't resist, with an army watching their every move. You have the right to remain silent. The Miranda rights echoed across the street as officers secured the suspects. More police arrived, FBI vehicles, unmarked cars, a whole task force materializing to deal with the criminals Helena had accidentally exposed. Those men, Detective Santos said, approaching Duke, they're connected to at least 12 disappearances across 4 states. Kids who vanished and were never found. Duke felt sick. How many were they planning to take today? Based on surveillance footage from their car, they'd been watching these 3 for over a week. The older boy was the primary target, fits the profile of kids they've taken before. Miguel, 11 years old, walking with earbuds in, oblivious to the world. If Helena hadn't noticed, if she hadn't spoken up, if Duke hadn't been on that corner at that exact moment. We've been trying to catch these guys for 2 years, Santos continued. Never could get ahead of them. They were careful, professional. She looked at Helena. Until a 7-year-old spotted what we couldn't. Helena was sitting on Duke's motorcycle, her brothers on either side, all 3 wrapped in shock blankets the paramedics had provided. She looked impossibly small against the massive Harley. She saved them, Duke said. She saw what was happening and she acted. Most adults don't do that. Most adults tell themselves it's nothing and keep walking. Why did she come to you? Duke almost smiled. She said I looked scary. Figured I was scarier than the men following them. Smart kid. The smartest. Vous. The parents arrived at 6:30 p.m. Maria and Carlos Reyes had gotten the call at work. Their children surrounded by police and bikers, something about an attempted kidnapping. They had broken every speed limit getting there. When they saw their kids, alive, unharmed, wrapped in blankets, Maria collapsed against her husband, sobbing. Mis bebés, mis bebés. She ran to them, gathering all 3 in her arms, holding them like she'd never let go. Carlos followed, his face a mask of terror and relief. What happened? The police called and said, 2 men tried to take us, Miguel said, his voice shaking. They were following us from school. Helena saw them. She told the motorcycle man and he saved us. Maria looked up, found Duke in the crowd. You're the one who... Your daughter is the one who saved them, ma'am. I just made a phone call. Don't minimize what you did. Maria stood up, walked to Duke and hugged him before he could react. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Duke stood frozen. He couldn't remember the last time someone had hugged him, couldn't remember the last time he'd let anyone close enough. I have a daughter too, Maria said, pulling back. Had, if someone had been there for her. She couldn't finish. Duke understood more than she knew. Tonight, someone was there. That's what matters. Helena appeared at his side, slipping her hand into his like it was the most natural thing in the world. Are you going to leave now? She asked. Soon. The police have things under control. But I don't want you to go. Her voice was small. What if there are more bad men? Duke crouched down again. This little girl who had trusted him without reason, who had seen danger and run toward help instead of away. There might be more bad men, But now you know what to do. You watch, you pay attention, and when you see something wrong, you find someone who can help." He squeezed her hand. "You're braver than you know, Helena. Don't ever forget that. Will I see you again?" Duke looked at her parents, at the question in their eyes. "If your mom and dad say it's okay, yeah, I think you will." Maria nodded, tears still streaming. "You're welcome in our home any time, all of you." She looked at the 200 bikers still surrounding the street. "All of you saved my children today. I don't know how to repay that." Duke stood up. "There's nothing to repay. We protect kids. That's what we do." He looked at Helena one more time, especially the brave ones. He mounted his bike. Around him, 200 engines roared to life. But before they left, before the thunder of bikers filled the evening air, Duke made one more call. "This family, the Reyes family, they're under our protection now, permanent. Anyone threatens them, anyone even looks at them wrong, we respond. Understood?" "Understood." Duke nodded at Helena. "See you soon, kid." Then 300 Hell's Angels rode into the sunset, leaving behind 3 children who would never feel unsafe again. And one little girl who had learned that sometimes the scariest people are the ones who save you. The investigation exploded overnight. The 2 men, Victor Marsh and Dennis Cole, broke within hours of interrogation. Facing federal trafficking charges, they traded information for the possibility of avoiding death row. What they revealed horrified everyone. A network spanning 6 states, 37 children taken over 5 years, buyers who paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for specific requests, safe houses, transport routes, corrupt officials who looked the other way. Helena, Lucas, and Miguel had been special orders. A buyer in Nevada had requested siblings, 3 children from the same family, young, healthy, no older than 12. The Reyes kids fit the profile perfectly. They had been watched for 2 weeks, their routines documented, their parents' work schedules memorized. The day of the attempted abduction was supposed to be simple: grab them on the walk home, be across state lines before anyone knew they were missing. It would have worked, if not for a 7-year-old girl who noticed a car moving too slowly. She saved a lot more than her brothers, Detective Santos told the Reyes family the next morning. "The information we got from those 2 is going to dismantle the entire operation. We're already coordinating with FBI offices in 4 states. By the end of the week, we'll have taken down the whole ring." Maria clutched her coffee cup, hands still shaking. "How many children?" "At least 37 that we know of. Some might still be recoverable." "Some." Santos didn't finish. "And if Helena hadn't noticed, your children would have been 38, 39, and 40. The room went silent. Carlos put his arm around his wife. Helena sat between her brothers on the couch, not fully understanding the conversation, but knowing it was serious. "What happens now?" Carlos asked. "The men who tried to take your kids will never see the outside of a prison. The network is being dismantled as we speak. But I have to be honest with you. There may be others who know your children were targeted. Until we've rounded up everyone involved, you should be careful." "Careful how? We can't live in fear forever." Santos hesitated. "The Hells Angels offered continued protection. I know that sounds unusual, but they have resources we don't. Eyes in places we can't see. The bikers. You're suggesting we accept help from a motorcycle gang. I'm suggesting you consider all your options. Those men saved your children yesterday. They have a network that spans the entire country, and they've made it clear they consider your family under their protection." Maria and Carlos exchanged looks. 2 days ago, they would have refused immediately. The Hells Angels were criminals, dangerous, everything parents warned their children about. But everything parents warned their children about had saved their children's lives. "We'll think about it," Maria said finally. Duke came by the next day. He didn't call ahead, just appeared on their doorstep, helmet in hand, looking almost uncomfortable. "Mr. Reyes, Mrs. Reyes, I wanted to check on the kids." Carlos studied him. This massive tattooed man who had mobilized an army to protect 3 children he'd never met. "Come in." They sat in the living room. Duke looked out of place among the family photos and children's artwork, a wolf in a dollhouse, but he accepted the coffee Maria offered and asked polite questions about how everyone was sleeping. Helena appeared in the doorway. "Duke!" She ran to him before her parents could stop her, climbing onto the couch beside him like they were old friends. "Hey, kid, how you holding up?" "I had bad dreams, but Mom let me sleep in her bed, so it was okay." "Bad dreams are normal after something scary. They'll get better." "Did you have bad dreams?" "After your daughter?" The room went still. Maria started to apologize for her daughter's directness, but Duke held up a hand. "Yeah, I did. For a long time. Sometimes I still do." "What makes them go away?" Duke thought about it. "Helping other people. Doing something good. Every time I protect a kid like you, the dreams get a little quieter." Helena considered this with 7-year-old solemnity. "So we helped each other. I helped you by letting you save us. And you helped me by actually saving us." Duke almost smiled. "Yeah, I guess we did." The protection became routine. Every morning a Hell's Angel was parked near the Reyes house when the kids left for school. Different riders, rotating shifts, but always someone. They didn't approach, didn't interfere, just watched, made sure. At school, teachers noticed. Parents noticed. The principal called Maria to express concern about the gang presence near campus. "They're not causing trouble," Maria said. "They're protecting my children." "From what?" "The men who tried to take them are in custody. From anything else that might happen. From anyone who might want to finish what those men started." "Mrs. Reyes, this is a school. We can't have..." "Have what? People who care about children's safety?" "Because from what I can tell, your security guard didn't notice 2 predators following my kids for 6 blocks. A 7-year-old noticed, and a gang member stopped them." The principal had no response. The bikers stayed. 3 weeks after the incident, Duke received an invitation. Helena's 8th birthday party. Pink envelope, glittery stickers, handwritten in careful 7-year-old penmanship. "You are invited to my birthday. Please come. Bring your friends if you want. Helena." Duke stared at the invitation for a long time. He hadn't been to a child's birthday party since Emma's last one, 15 years ago. Pink balloons and a unicorn cake and a little girl who would be dead 3 months later. He should say no, should keep his distance, should remember that getting close to families only led to pain. Instead, he RSVP'd yes. The party was chaos. 20 kids running around a backyard, screaming and laughing and getting cake everywhere. Parents clustered in groups, drinking coffee and watching their children with varying degrees of attention. Then the bikers arrived. Not 300 this time, just 12. Duke and his closest brothers, the ones who had been on the corner that day. They parked in a neat line on the street, removed their helmets, and approached the party like they were entering hostile territory. The other parents stared. Some pulled their children closer. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Then Helena screamed, "Duke!" She sprinted across the yard and launched herself at him with enough force to knock a smaller man over. Duke caught her, lifting her easily, letting her wrap her arms around his neck. "You came. You actually came. Said I would, didn't I? I wasn't sure. Mom said sometimes adults say they'll come, and then they don't. I always keep my promises, kid. Always." The other parents watched this interaction with confusion, this terrifying biker, covered in tattoos, holding a little girl like she was the most precious thing in the world. Maria approached with a smile. "Thank you for coming, all of you. It means a lot to her. Wouldn't miss it." Duke set Helena down. "We brought something." Ghost stepped forward carrying a large wrapped box. Helena's eyes went wide. "For me? Open it." She tore into the wrapping paper with the enthusiasm only a child could muster. Inside was a leather jacket, child-sized, custom-made, with a special patch on the back. "Protected," it read, with the Hell's Angels logo above it. "This means you are under our protection," Duke explained. "Forever. Anyone sees this jacket, they know your family." Helena put it on immediately. It was slightly too big, but she didn't care. "I love it. I love it so much." She hugged Duke again. "Thank you. There's one more thing." Duke reached into his pocket and pulled out a phone, a simple flip phone, nothing fancy. This has one number programmed in it, mine. You ever feel scared, you ever see something wrong, you call. Day or night, I'll answer. Helena took the phone like it was made of gold. What if it's the middle of the night? Then I'll wake up and answer. What if you're busy? Nothing's more important than keeping you safe. Helena looked at the phone, then at the jacket, then at Duke. You're better than a real dad, she said. Real dads don't always answer. Duke didn't know how to respond to that, so he just hugged her again. This tiny girl, who had somehow cracked open a heart he thought had stopped working 15 years ago. The trafficking ring fell apart over the next 6 months. 23 arrests across 6 states. 14 children recovered, some reunited with families who had given up hope, others placed in foster care because they had nowhere else to go. The FBI credited the Hells Angels publicly, which was unprecedented. A press conference where a federal agent stood next to Duke and called him a crucial partner in bringing these criminals to justice. The story went national. Biker gang saves children, destroys trafficking network. Duke did exactly one interview where he said exactly one thing. A little girl asked for help. We helped, that's all. Helena became something of a celebrity at school, the girl whose observation skills had brought down a criminal empire. Teachers used her as an example in safety presentations. Other kids wanted to hear the story over and over. She didn't let it go to her head. I just noticed the car, she told anyone who asked. Duke did the hard part. But you're the one who spoke up. Most people wouldn't. Then most people are dumb. If you see something scary, you should tell someone. That's just obvious. 7 years old and already wiser than most adults. Duke visited regularly now. Sunday dinners with the Reyes family, birthday parties and school plays and random Tuesday afternoons when Helena called because she saw a suspicious cloud and wanted his opinion. He became Uncle Duke to all 3 kids, a permanent fixture in their lives, the scary biker who turned out to have the biggest heart of anyone they knew. You've changed, Ghost told him one evening at the clubhouse, ever since that little girl. Changed how? You're lighter, less angry. You actually smile sometimes. Duke thought about it. About the darkness that had consumed him for 15 years. About the way it had lifted slowly every time Helena called him or hugged him or looked at him like he was a hero. She reminds me why I'm still here, he said. After Emma, I didn't see the point. Just kept going through the motions. But Helena, she showed me that I could still do something good, still protect someone. You've protected lots of people over the years, but this is different. This is personal. She chose me, ran to me, trusted me with her life and her brother's lives. He shook his head. I can't let her down. I won't. You won't. That's not who you are. Duke hoped that was true. Hoped he could be the man Helena thought he was. Hoped he could finally be something other than a father who had failed to protect his own child. Epilogue. 5 years later, Helena Reyes was 12 years old. She stood in front of her middle school, giving a presentation on community safety. Behind her, a screen showed statistics about child abductions and the importance of awareness. When I was 7, she said, 2 men tried to kidnap me and my brothers. They had been following us for weeks. No one noticed except me. The classroom was silent. I noticed because I was paying attention, because I was walking behind my brothers instead of looking at my phone, because I watched the world instead of ignoring it. She clicked to the next slide. A photo of Duke and her brothers, taken at her 8th birthday party. When I saw those men coming, I ran to a stranger for help. A Hells Angel, the scariest-looking person I could find. And he saved our lives. Murmurs from the audience. People told me later that I was brave. But I wasn't brave. I was scared. Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you do something even though you're scared. She clicked to her final slide. A quote, see something, say something, do something. And if you see something wrong, don't assume someone else will handle it. Don't tell yourself it's nothing. Don't stay quiet because you're afraid of being wrong. Helena looked at her classmates. Being wrong is embarrassing. Being right and saying nothing is unforgivable. The applause was enthusiastic. After class, Helena checked her phone. A text from Duke. "Heard you did great today. Proud of you, kid." She smiled and typed back, "Learned from the best. Dinner Sunday? Wouldn't miss it." Helena put her phone away and headed to her next class. She was still the girl who walked behind everyone else, still the one who noticed things others missed. But now she knew what to do with what she saw, and she knew that no matter what happened, a family of 300 bikers had her back, because that's what family did. They showed up, they paid attention, and when a 7-year-old girl whispered for help, they answered with 300 bikers and a promise that would last forever. The end.